Well, Claire, you know I'm coming to you. Go.
So I gotta, be careful talking on TV because I've gotten into a really angry place. I know we're all worn out. The fatigue is significant over the scandal, but I can't decide which makes me sicker. The fact that he has commuted Roger Stone or whether he is attacking with Oppo research Dr. Fauci. I mean, Nicolle, Oppo research is for your political opponents. The notion that he has sent the White House operatives, press operatives out to drop Oppo on Dr. Fauci is beyond the pale. This country trusts Dr. Fauci for a reason, and they don't trust him. And him going after him is not going to help him. It's just not going to help Trump at all. I hope that Dr. Fauci stays strong. I wish he would go ahead and book on some of these shows in defiance of the White House, because that's what the public needs right now. The public needs him to stand up to this bully.
Claire, I don't want to make you feel like you have to make a choice. And so we will take time and we will get through all of it, because I think that's how Donald Trump has gotten away with so much, right? We move on. The volume is so fast. We have to move on. Friday night, the Stones commutation broke, and today there's an Oppo dump. But we're going to cover all of it. But let me stay with you on just this abnormal nature of dumping smears against not just the country's top infectious disease doctor, but one of the preeminent experts in the world. I asked Dr. Anne Lemoine this in the last hour. When we were covering the Chinese government's response to Wuhan, it was international news when the government censored or suppressed the scientist. We are now that government. Trump is now that leader, and Tony Fauci, that truth-telling scientist. It's a remarkable moment for our country on the world stage, just a remarkable, shameful disgrace.
The United States of America has been the city on the hill because of our values, because we have had the world's best scientists and researchers, because we cared about the First Amendment and tolerance and equality. And now this president, he is so in love with Putin and Kim Jong-un and Xi, these despots around the globe that reject all of those values. They reject them all, especially those that have to do with civil rights for their citizenry. And the idea that we're now emulating them, he wants to be like those guys. He won't say anything about being a bounty being put on our soldiers by Putin, because he wants to be Putin. And this is a great example of him modeling that behavior that the world would criticize, we would criticize, and it's our own president doing it. It just is infuriating.
Jonathan Lemire, I'm in the business of searching high and low for silver linings. And one of the only ones I can find is that the public, by a ratio of 67 to 26, trusts Anthony Fauci. This was pre-orchestrated, publicly detailed smear campaign run from the White House of this country. But the scientist still has a lot of credibility. Is the White House goal to destroy it?
There are moments where it certainly feels that way, Nicolle. Let's back up a little bit here to the origin of this particular tension, if you will, although it's relatively one-sided, of course. You hit upon it early on. I mean, Dr. Fauci enjoys remarkable popularity. Poll numbers support him. He does much better than President Trump, to say the least. And early on, the president sort of grumbled to advisors. We reported at the time that how much media attention Dr. Fauci was getting. That the press, he at one point told an advisor, felt like Dr. Fauci was walking on water. And we saw the West Wing seize control of Dr. Fauci's media appearance schedule, and he suddenly started appearing on television a lot less. And we have seen, of course, as the coronavirus task force briefings were phased out, Dr. Fauci appeared in front of cameras and in the public eye even less frequently. These days, it's only sort of an alternative media. He's doing podcasts and live streams and social media, and that's all important. And that certainly gets him in front of some people, but not nearly the reach that he would have. The White House is telling people that they feel like Dr. Fauci has been counterproductive. This is their telling, that they feel like that he is perhaps more willing to take a negative view of the president's handling of this virus in the media rather than he is while he's actually in the West Wing. They feel like that he is a distraction, if one advisor put it to me, because their focus is on reopening the economy. And I think that's the central issue here, Nicolle, and we can't lose sight of this. This is the president who's eyeing re-election, is facing voters in under 4 months, frankly, 6 weeks or so when we start talking about early voting. And he needs, his advisors believe, needs the economy to get going. And they're trying to basically steamroll anything that gets in their way. And that includes Dr. Fauci, even though, of course, we are seeing the coronavirus surge throughout the country right now in a number of states. It's forced governors to roll back some of their reopenings and force the president, frankly, to, at least for the time being, abandon the idea of campaign rallies, because forget the storm that they used as a public excuse on Saturday. It was the fear of a low crowd. People didn't want to congregate in significant numbers in New Hampshire that led to the White House, that led to the campaign to have to scuttle that rally.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.